Hey everyone, welcome back. So today we're going to be reviewing WRITHE for the Nintendo Switch. Now, WRITHE was released on January 15th of 2021 and its regular list price is $9.99. Now, as you watch this review, if you end up liking what you see, please do hit the like button, it really does help out a lot, and consider subscribing to the channel if you aren't already. Now, the best way to describe WRITHE is that it's an old school arena/survival FPS game. Now, story-wise, we're actually probably not going to discuss much in this review, simply because I don't want to spoil it for all of you, because the main payoff of collecting items in this game, or collectibles, is to unlock the lore sections. Now, the only thing I am going to say about it is that the lore sections, although it's only written text, actually do mesh pretty well with the game, and I found pretty humorous in certain sections. Now, let's talk about the gameplay. The gameplay is actually pretty simple. The main point of the game is to stay alive as long as possible. To do this, you play through arena-style stages, and there are 3 different stages accessible in the game. Now, your basic tools that you have is a plasma rifle that you use with the right trigger, a shotgun that you use with the left trigger, and your B button that will help you jump to basically do a little bit of platforming. It's important to know that you're never going to have to reload and that you have unlimited bullets as well. And basically, you're set loose in whichever stage you chose, and worms basically start spawning in an infinite fashion. Now, if you start out playing with the mindset that you're just going to go through killing all the worms, that I will tell you right away, you are not going to survive very long. It is very important to keep moving in the stages and to basically focus more on the platforming and your positioning than actually just killing all the worms you see. Because as you'll see through general gameplay, after about 30 to 45 seconds, there is basically no way you can survive by just killing the worms. You really have to keep on the move, platforming and keeping them on their heels so that they can't corner you or swarm you. Now, if the mechanics seem simple and straightforward, that's because they are, because that is pretty much the totality of the game. The only other element, as I spoke about a little earlier, is that you'll have the choice between 3 different stages. And also, each run you will attempt, the worms will not necessarily always spawn in exactly the same pattern or even the exact same type, because there are 3 different type of worms that act in 3 different type of ways, and basically which ones will spawn on each one of your runs is totally random. Now, gameplay mechanics wise, this game actually is pretty smooth and works pretty well. And it's a pretty nice twist on the general FPS gameplay, where the point isn't just to mow down wave after wave of enemies, but rather having to balance basically platforming with killing your enemies to just tune down their numbers, but basically stay alive. But this leads me to my first major problem with WRITHE. The basic problem with WRITHE isn't its gameplay or its mechanics, it's the scope of the game. The game just doesn't have enough to it. I mean, this fresh twist on FPS gameplay centered around survival is nice at first, but it gets old very, very quick, especially with the limited number of stages that you have accessible to you. Basically, the overall gameplay in WRITHE sort of feels like a tech demo to a game that should be coming out in the future, but not like a game in itself. Or if this was an alternate mode to a primary first player campaign, once again, the game would start feeling much better than it actually does right now. And it's just a little bit too bad because it feels like wasted potential, because I just want to return to it. I'm not knocking the developers for the quality of work they put in, because like I said, the gameplay works very well, it's smooth, and the overall concept of this worm infestation is an overall interesting concept. It's just the way they decided to implement it in such a limited gaming format where you're basically limited to 3 survival stages, and overall the stages are pretty small, and that your only point is to stay alive as long as you can. Well, unfortunately, I'll be honest with you, after about an hour to 2 hours of gameplay, I was pretty much fed up and done with this game. And if your reply to that would be that this is a budget title and that maybe it's forgivable, the only problem I have with that is that at its $10 price point, currently on the Switch, you have some really fully fleshed out old school FPS games that are far more complete than what you're getting in WRITHE. Just for example, Doom 64 at even half the price for only $5 will deliver a fully fledged first player campaign that will probably keep you interested in the gameplay for far longer than this game will. And then you have all the other versions of the Doom behind that, with probably Doom 3, which its normal price is at $10, offering you a far, far superior experience to what you have here. Now, with all that out of the way, I think we're pretty much ready to move on to my verdict on this game. And my verdict for WRITHE, unfortunately, as it stands currently, is going to be a definite pass. Now, although I don't think it's going to happen, the developer could easily remedy the situation by simply offering a free DLC with maybe a 2 to 3 hour single player campaign, and this game would, I would say, jump up clearly to a solid game. But unfortunately, as it stands now, just because of its limited scope and basically better offerings for the same price, to me, this is a definite pass. Your money is best spent probably elsewhere. So that's pretty much it for my review of WRITHE. Now, I know the review was probably pretty short, but unfortunately there just wasn't that much to talk about in this case. So if you did like the video, as I said earlier, please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, and hit the notification bell so you know when all my videos come out. And as usual, I hope I'll see you in my next video.